Hey guys, this is dclaiche, and today we're going to be doing a review on the Wit 4. But before we begin the review, I just wanted to thank you guys because I most recently hit 10,000 video views. Oh my god! Yes, so thank you for 10,000 video views, and I also most recently started school again. But don't worry, I'm going to try to not let school interrupt with YouTube, but if it does, there's not going to be much I can do about it. So anyways, let's get into the review of the Wit 4. So here we have the new Witeden 4x4 and its box, and you know me, I'm going to review the box first. So it looks very similar, where is it, to the Wit 2 box. It has the same logo on the front. It has the algorithms for solving it. And it also has the warning label, just like the Wit 2 box does. So let's get rid of these. And let's take a look at the Wit 4. Now, I had extremely high hopes for this cube because the Wit 2 was just amazing. And I thought that Witeden would probably make a pretty good 4x4. But my expectations were not met. It still is pretty good, but it's probably not as good as a Shangshao, and let me go into exactly why right now. Now, first of all, I would like to go over a positive thing, and that is the sticker shades. I love this shade of blue. I love bright blue. It looks so great on a cube, and the sticker shades, they look so good, and I do not know why they couldn't have done it on the Wit 2. But, you know, whatever. So yeah, the sticker shades are definitely good. So I've had the puzzle for about a week now, and the stickers are pretty good. They're holding up, but I have a good feeling if I keep on using this, then it's probably going to wear out. And I haven't used this that much anyways, so I don't see them wearing out. However, they do seem like they are just typical DIY stickers. It has the Witeden logo on here, just like the Wit 2 has. So yeah, this is basically just a standard 4x4 with a nice blue side on it. Now, the turning of this puzzle is kind of weird. The middle layers, double layers, are fantastic. They are so smooth. They're even smoother than the Wit 2. The Wit 2 is kind of scratchy, as many of you know, but these are just so smooth. And then you get to the outer layers. Now, the outer layers are kind of rigid, and they don't turn that good. Now, I can still finger trick them, but up comes another problem. This cube, when loosened to a tension that is, you know, allows the outer layers to turn a little bit more smoothly, it will pop, and it has some pretty bad pops as well. I mean, I've been having to look for pieces ever since I got this thing. It's just really unstable, in my opinion. The corner cutting, however, is pretty good. Yeah, I have this thing set a little bit tighter than stock tension. Also, I want it to be noted that I did lubricate this thing with Traxxas. I lubricated the core and all the pieces, but still, these outer layers are just really rigid and just aren't all that appealing at all. The corner cutting on the outer layers is okay. It's pretty decent. If I were to compare it to my Shangshao is pretty good. It's probably, I'd say, about as good as the Shangshao. However, this thing actually does have reverse corner cutting. But as far as I can tell, it's only with the middle layers. I can't really seem to get these to reverse corner cut. I can get those two. I can get these to kind of reverse corner cut, but it's not really a huge reverse corner cutting margin, and it doesn't really work. Besides, I don't really see myself having to use reverse corner cutting for 4x4 anyways, but it probably would help. Now, the mechanism of this cube is actually very related to, surprisingly, the Rubik's 5x5. And let me go ahead and show you what I mean by that by taking out a piece. Or a few pieces. I also have my actual Rubik's 5x5 here to compare the pieces. So let me take out the exact same pieces and pick up that one that fell on the floor. So here is an edge piece. Here it is on the 5x5 Rubik's Cube, and here it is on the Wit 4. Now on the Wit 4, for some reason, this little lip right here slides back and forth, which is kind of weird. Oh, and also, edges do split apart. They split in half. Ah, come on, just like that. And the corners do split into thirds, like so. So there is a stickerless version of this cube. Now here is a center from the Rubik's 5x5, and here's a center from the Wit 4. Looks very similar to me, and it goes in very similarly. The Rubik's 5x5 center goes in like this. Oh, and also, take a look at the insides. Oh yeah, and that goes in like this as well. Take a look at the insides. Look at how similar they are. The corner and then the edge like that. Very similar to the Rubik's 5x5. The one piece that I can tell this cube doesn't have, that this cube does have, are these pieces. They are not present on this cube. So this is not in any way a knockoff of the V-Cube 5, or the V-Cube mechanism, because if it were, then it would have at least pieces on the inside that were similar to these. So it's not a total knockoff of any of these cubes, but it definitely does recognizably use the Rubik's 5x5 mechanism, which I think is its main failure. Because this Rubik's 5x5 does not have very good outside turning. However, the inside turning is actually pretty decent. Pretty decent. This one is the exact same case. The outside turning just doesn't do that well. And I think that the reason why is because on the inside of this cube, there's just a whole lot of jagged places and a whole bunch of pieces that just, they mess around and they get caught on each other, and it makes the cube just a little bit too rough to turn. It's not like super rough, like it's not nearly as rough as the Rubik's 5x5 itself, but it is noticeably not nearly as smooth as some of the other cubes that I have. Now I thought I'd go ahead and show you a little bit more of the inside, just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like in there. So this is what the, and it's probably going to fall apart on me. So this is what the core looks like. It has these little corner parts right here, and these corner pieces just kind of lay down on top of them. And if you take this out, which I'm going to attempt to do, I'm probably going to have to take the whole thing apart. So let's go ahead and take the whole thing apart. I'll put it back together later. So this is what the core looks like, and if you turn one side this way, you can pop out, well, you can actually pop out one of these corners. Or at least you can try. Let's see, there we go. So, for those of you who have seen the Rubik's 5x5, the corner looks a lot like this. So yeah, this is definitely based off the Rubik's 5x5 mechanism. And you take out an edge. There we go. So that's what the actual core looks like. It's very itty-bitty for such a big cube, and this is what one of the inner edges looks like. So yeah, this core, when I first took this cube apart, it did not turn very good individually, so I lubricated the inside of the core, and afterwards it did feel a little bit better. But when I put the cube back together, I could not feel any difference whatsoever. So the Traxxas really does not help on this cube at all. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and reassemble this. Okay, so I've got the cube all assembled, and while I was assembling it, I was watching Crazy Bad Cuber's unboxing and review of this cube. And he actually said that Witeden had said that the design was made so that all the layers would feel the same. Well, that is definitely not the case. The middle layers feel extremely smooth, and the outer layers are just really rigid and rough. Just doesn't feel right. But then again, the Wit 2 felt a little bit rigid and rough out of the box. But it immediately became better when I put a little bit of lube in it. This one, I put lube in it, and it still feels the exact same. And just the fact that it turns this rough kind of makes you think that it shouldn't pop. But it does, and that's just a double negative. Popping and turning bad is just not a good mix. Now, I'm not saying that this cube is all bad in general, because there was actually a video of someone solving it pretty fast on the Witeden website, and the cube looked very good then, so it's probably a setup thing, but from what I see, I just don't know how I can get it to turn really good. Maybe there is a way, I don't know if there is, but if there is and I can get it that way, maybe I'll make an update saying the things that have changed about this cube. You know, just I don't know. One thing that I also noticed in his review is that sometimes whenever he would turn the middle layer, the top layer would stop spinning, and that's what it seems to be doing here. Another bad thing is that if you're one of the people that grips the cube like this whenever they go do a top layer move, the second layer is going to go with it. Luckily for me, I grip the whole thing, so it's not a problem for me, but as you can see, it's kind of locky. Now, the Shengshao is a little bit locky as well, but it's only because mine is loose. This one is stable, and it's also locky. This one, however, feels a little bit more stable than the Shengshao. I mean, if I shake it, you're not going to hear anything. If I shake this one, you can hear the pieces jiggle around, but it still turns smoother. But one advantage that this does have over Shengshao is its ability to do this. These middle layers are extremely smooth, and this is extremely useful if you use the Yao method. Now, I don't use the Yao method, but it's a very, very quick method. It basically involves solving the cross while solving the centers, and then solving everything else, all the other edges, and then just having the cross already done for you. So yeah, this cube is definitely really good for that method, and my version of it is the Shengshao 3, and as you can see, it's doing it okay, but oh, there's a lock. It does lock up, and this one doesn't seem to ever. And that is one of the reasons why this cube is not my main speed cube, because that pop was not good. Because look at that pop, and now I have to go and get a piece way over there. All because I apparently turned something wrong. Yeah, there really isn't that much more to say about this cube. I honestly don't really know if I can recommend this. I mean, it's definitely, I think the Shengshao is personally better than it. But I've decided that I should go ahead and do a solve video of it, just to kind of show you, you know, how it performs, at least in my case. Yeah, so that solve didn't exactly go all that well for me. The outer layers kept on locking up, and it just didn't feel good trying to solve it. And I was being very careful that I didn't pop it. So that was a pretty below average solve for me. Normally on the Shangshao, I'm doing about at least sub 120. And this one was a 128, so yeah. This cube, I cannot really say that I recommend. It's good for your collection, but it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't live up to the hype that the Wit 2 brought it up to. And unfortunately, it is sadly about the same quality as its mini counterpart. For those of you who don't know, they made a mini Wit 4 that was smaller than the Wit 2 for whatever reason before they released this. And that wasn't all that good, and unfortunately this one isn't all that good either. So, sorry, but if you really want to get this, you can go to, I believe, iCube Mart and get it for about $20. For me, this is just going to be a collection piece. I'm probably not going to be using this as my main speed cube. So yeah, let's just end this video with final thoughts. So final thoughts on the Wit 4. It could be better. It probably has the potential to be better, but I just don't know how to bring that goodness out of this cube. Currently, my favorite 4x4 is the Shangshao. So, if you really want a good 4x4, I guess right now, go for Shangshao. But the Wit 4 was only the first step on a process that I'm going through right now, which is trying to find a 4x4 that's better than the Shangshao. My next quest is probably the Maru version 2. I hear that the Maru version 1 is very good, and the Maru version 2 is also very good, and I want to try to get that one. But until then, I guess we'll just have to stick with the Shangshao. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Again, thank you for 10,000 video views, and this is dclaiche saying goodbye.